Okay, so you're thinking about moving to Fort Lauderdale and you're not sure whether you want to live out east and enjoy the beach, the boating, and the hustle and bustle lifestyle, or go and live out west, live a little bit more laid back, a little bit more suburban, and have a little bit more space. Ultimately, making the wrong decision could, make or break whether you like living in Fort Lauderdale and South Florida. So in this video, I'm gonna help you guys make the decision as easy as possible. We're gonna compare both living out east in Fort Lauderdale to living out west in Fort Lauderdale so you can decide which is best for you and your family. But before we do that, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or relocate here to Fort Lauderdale or South Florida in general, we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. We have people just like you that reach out every single day via text, emails, DMs, helping to answer any of their questions, giving them recommendations, and even helping them move here to South Florida. So if that's you, please call us, text us, email us, whatever's easiest for you. We got you, but now let's dive into it. So I think to start off with this, we gotta decide what is East Fort Lauderdale and what is West Fort Lauderdale. So the determining factor is 95. And know what you're thinking, bro, 95? 95 is a little bit further east, like that can't be the determining factor, but it is. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. So 95 runs north and south. Everything east of 95 is considered East Fort Lauderdale. Everything west of 95 is considered West Fort Lauderdale. And yes, they are vastly, vastly different. I know it's not directly proportional, but these areas, it is what it is. I don't get to change that. So let's start off with East Fort Lauderdale. So what are some of the things to do in East Fort Lauderdale? What is East Fort Lauderdale known for? Obviously, you have the beach there. So East Fort Lauderdale is really known for the beachfront and the waterfront lifestyle. Whether you're looking to go to some more secluded and quieter private beaches like that at Dania Beach, maybe even Lauderdale by the Sea Beach, Pompano, but Pompano's, slowly getting a little bit more and more packed, or you're looking to go to more of like the happening, popping beaches like that of Fort Lauderdale Beach, or even that of Hollywood Beach, where a lot more commercialized, but plenty of things to do, whether you're looking for restaurants, some touristy shops, or even trying to grab a drink right there on the beach. So that's some great different options for you. Now, what I really like, and personally, I think is better than going to the beach, because I honestly don't like going to the beach that much. And you'll start to notice that a lot more and more locals really don't go to the beach that much. A lot of them actually opt to go on a boat. And I think boating is much more fun. You're not just sitting there on the sand like a rotisserie chicken, just flipping over, tanning. You're on a boat, you're enjoying it, you're with your friends, you're playing music, you're playing different games. Like there's just things to do. You can go water skiing or wakeboarding, tubing, you name it. Plus you can kind of go out and explore, or if you're really feeling it, you can go to the Bahamas and come back, in the same day, which is a long trip, but still doable. You notice a lot of people do that, whether you actually live on the water or you keep your boat in a marina. Now, if you don't have a boat, no worries. You can also kayak, paddleboard, rent jet skis, or what some people actually do. It's not the same, but it still counts. You can take the water taxi or a gondola ride. So the water taxi, there's a free version of just getting up and down the river, or there's the water taxi where you can pay, hop on, hop off to get around Fort Lauderdale, which is actually really cool. Good date night spot, good date night activity idea. Take your girl on a gondola ride or take your boyfriend on a gondola ride, whatever you want to do. I mean, no one else has really done that. You're gonna be the first to do it. You're welcome, I got you guys. Now, besides for that, there are plenty of other things to do. So I think living out east also has, the downtown scene. Obviously the high rises and things, everything is out east. Whether it's the downtown Fort Lauderdale, downtown Hollywood, Pompano's working its way up, downtown Boca. So you have like the professionalism and that upscaleness that comes with the downtown, along with the hustle, bustle, and the energy of the city. So with all that being there, obviously there's a little bit more upscale feel and energy when it comes to the restaurant scene. So whether you're in downtown Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, Boca, the restaurants there are a little bit more upscale because they're trying to go after those professionals that are in those buildings. Plus, that's just normal downtown scenes. So like that of Las Olas, you have a lot more options and things that are not just like Chili's and Applebee's. So if food's your thing and you're a big foodie and you want to try something different every single night, you can do that. So like, for example, here in Fort Lauderdale off of Las Olas, you go to like Salt 7, Fogo de Chao, Cheesecake Factory, which doesn't get enough credit. Cheesecake Factory is freaking good. You also have like El Camino, Rocco's Tacos, there's Louis Bossi, there's a lot of different things. Voodoo Bayou, which I tried for the first time the other day. Honestly, a little bit interesting, different, but still good. Now, when it comes to the nightlife aspect of things, out east takes the cake by far. Think about it. Everything you want to do, nightlife-wise, is out east. Whether you're going clubbing, you go into a bar, rooftop bar, even dive bars, they're all out here in Fort Lauderdale, or out east in Fort Lauderdale. So you have like the downtown area, then you have like the wharf, then you're working your way down Las Olas, which is more bars. Then you have like Elbow Room and Blondie's on the beach, plus plenty of speakeasies and even wine rooms up and down Las Olas and kind of surrounded. Pompano, you got more of the brewery scene, which is nice. Same thing in Boca. And then Dania and Hollywood also have a nice little like brewery scene. Now, on the flip side of things, when it comes to living in West Fort Lauderdale, what is that like? So it is a lot more suburban, but don't think of it as like suburbia like you're probably thinking. Like, it still has like the big city type feel to it, but there's a lot more strip centers. So we have things like the Fountains, we have Plantation Walk, the Walk in Coral Springs, the shops at Pembroke Gardens, like a lot of these more upscale shopping centers that have been completely redone. Most of them are freaking massive. They have like every store you're gonna possibly need within this strip center. Granted, getting parking sometimes can be a pain in the butt, but you know, you don't have to go anywhere else. You hit Costco, then you go hit Trader Joe's, and go to Home Depot, Best Buy, there's probably a gym in there too, and then end up at Flanagan's, get some ribs, and go home for the day. You've knocked out pretty much your entire to-do list. Now, I will say with that upscale dining we were talking about out east in Fort Lauderdale before, a lot of those restaurants are actually moving west. They're starting to realize there's people, you know, number one, people actually live out west. Yes, they've always done that, but more and more people are moving out from out east Fort Lauderdale to West Fort Lauderdale, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you do have some of these restaurants like that at Padrino's, which now has locations in Plantation and West Boca. There's also Taco Craft, which also has locations in Plantation and Coral Springs. So there's a trend of slowly moving everything further west. Another thing that's really big out west in Fort Lauderdale is the park scene. I mean, there's a lot more room, so there's a lot more green space, sports fields, different parks like that at Vista View Park, C.B. Smith Park, Mullins Park. If you want to be out of the house, take your children to a park, or even you want to go to the park, play a game of pickup, flag football leagues, different things like that. A ton of different options out west compared to out east. There are parks out east, don't get me wrong, like George English, Bayview Park, Mills Pond, but much, much smaller scale. Like you get out to Weston, it's literally neighborhood park, neighborhood park, neighborhood park. Tons of parks everywhere. It's ridiculous. Now, I will say on the nightlife scene out west, nowhere near that of out east. Now, there are some bars, I will give us that, but other than that, not a ton of other things. There is Roundup, which is a country-themed Western line dancing bar. I don't know the best way to describe it. I've honestly never been because line dancing is not my thing. And as you could also see, probably not the best dancer, but people love it. You know, it's something to do and it's something different. Like think about it. Oh, I live in South Florida and went line dancing. Yeah, no, the thing I would have thought of, oh, I went clubbing at 11 or live. Yeah, so something different. It is fun. You have to at least go and check it out once. I will go and check it out eventually. Now, one thing I do think living out east and living out west can be somewhat comparable in is the traffic. So I will say it's a little bit more congested getting just around day-to-day things out east by far, but commuting wise, like in the mornings and the afternoons, the traffic is just as bad in both. So in the mornings from about 7:30 to 9, going from west to east, traffic is brutal. And in the afternoons from about 4:30 to 6 p.m. going east to west, the traffic is brutal. So you do have to like kind of, you know, plan your days around that. If you're commuting in and out of the office, you're going to pick up your kids from school, things like that. Now, when it comes to schools, speaking of that, I will say the schools are pretty even between East Fort Lauderdale and West Fort Lauderdale. A lot of people do opt to send their children to private school, and the private schools are kind of sporadically placed throughout the Broward County area. Some of the big ones, and ones that people really do like, are that of like Pinecrest, which is in Fort Lauderdale. We have American Heritage, which has a campus in Plantation, and one further north in Delray. There's St. Andrews in Boca. There's North Broward Prep, which is in Coconut Creek, you know, Parkland, Boca-ish area. There's Cardinal Gibbons and St. Thomas, plus plenty of other options in between. So just thinking about that, most people, you know, they're driving, you know, solid 20, 30 minutes sometimes for schools. Now, I think the biggest difference though, when it comes to living out east in Fort Lauderdale versus out west in Fort Lauderdale, has to be the real estate. So for about the same $1 million, 1-1 price point, you're gonna get about a 1,500 to 2,000 square foot house on the absolute high end in East Fort Lauderdale. Same budget, West Fort Lauderdale, you're easily at, you know, a 2,500 to 35, even closer to 4,000 square foot house. That's literally double the size. Plus your lot size is much larger out west. You actually have a backyard. Most houses out east, you got a little patch of grass, maybe 10 by 20 if you're really, really lucky, and that's if you don't live on the water. If you live on the water, you're not getting a yard at all unless you're jumping up into the 5, 6, 7, maybe even $10 million range. It's crazy to think about. You're spending that much money, you're not getting the yard, but you have a little patch of grass, but nothing massive. Out west though, a lot more grass, a lot more activities, space, just everything overall. Another thing with living out west is there are a lot more like gated communities. A lot of communities out east in Fort Lauderdale don't necessarily have HOAs, especially on the single family side. Meanwhile, out west, a lot of the single family communities do have, they're gated, they have HOAs, things like that. Now, I know HOAs get a bad rap, mostly because of what's going on with the condos, but the HOAs for the single family homes, completely different. They're taking care of, security, the lawn maintenance, and usually they also have like a clubhouse or like a gym, things like that. Plus, there's actually country club communities out west, especially in the Parkland and West Boca areas. Now, that's really the biggest differences between living in East Fort Lauderdale and West Fort Lauderdale. Let me know in the comments down below. Where would you rather live? East Fort Lauderdale, live close to the water, enjoy the hustle and bustle, or would you rather live out west, a little bit more laid back lifestyle, the suburban type thing, strip centers, but still also be able to drive out east? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you are looking to buy, sell, invest, or relocate here to Fort Lauderdale or South Florida in general, we would love to be your real estate resource of choice. I'm telling you, we help people like you every single day who are reaching out to us, and we would love to help you as well. You can call us, email, text us, whatever's easiest for you, we got you.